Hi everyone. In this section, I'm going to show you how to look at the output history so that you can grab some of your old content that's been generated through one of the tools and then export it. So in this case, we are going to the original lesson plan. I did not ask you to export it at the time that you generated it. I simply asked you to share with the share button. So now we're going to take a look at it, and we are going to go ahead and export it. So you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom of the lesson plan. Remember, I had added some additional criteria. So I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom, click on the export, and export it to a Google Doc. Now at this point, it does say, do you want to export the selected resource or the full thread? I'm going to take the full thread. I'm not going to include the user prompts, but you may want to do that. And I'll click on the export button. Usually it takes a few seconds or so, and then you can click on the open. Alrighty, so here is the lesson plan that was generated for the sun's electromagnetic energy. And now as I work on my lesson plan for the remainder of this course, I can add different components that I create in some of the other tools. So if there's a lesson hook that I want to add, I can add it. If there are additional differentiated texts, I can add them here as well. As you work with your lesson plan, you can determine how best to add the content. You can add them as comments to yourself so that you can come back later and decide what you want to keep and what you want to dismiss. You can leave notes for yourself. Okay. One thing that I am going to do though is I am going to save this document. As you can see on the upper left-hand corner, it's saved in my Google Drive, but it's saved as a Word document. So I don't like to have Word documents in my Google Drive, so I'm going to go ahead and save it as a Google Doc. So now it's a genuine Google Doc, and I will simply delete the old one so that I don't get confused which lesson plan is the proper one. So now I'm going back to my tools, and in this particular activity, you're looking at the multi-step assignment. If you've already created a multi-step assignment, then you can simply go to Output History and grab all of that extra content. Now at this point, I can choose to export it, or I can just copy the text that I need and paste it into that lesson plan document. And that is what I end up doing here. Here I'm just explaining how when you are creating a multi-step assignment, you do get prompts that pop up in case you don't have the exact prompt, or you think it sounds funny, or you're not really 100% sure what you want, but you can kind of explain it. The AI tools have a great way of clarifying your questions so that you can get to the root of what you are looking for. I really liked the way that the definitions of electromagnetic waves and the different types of them were shown in that last iteration of the multi-tiered assignment, and so I'm going to grab the last one. And you can see that there are copy buttons all over the place. So they show up at the bottom of the generated texts or assignments, and then they also show up at the bottom of the prompts in case you want to reuse the prompts in some way, maybe change the wording a little bit. In this example, I asked Raina, the chatbot, to create a choice assignment, and so I've got 3 choice assignments for different types of learners, and I can easily copy and paste this into Google Classroom and assign it to different groups of students. If you haven't used Google Classroom in a bit, you may not have noticed that you can now create groups and assign groups. So these can be reading groups. And if you're someone who teaches different content areas, you can have students in more than one group. So it makes it just really easy to be able to assign content. The other thing that I love about the multi-generated assignment is that it also will provide you with articles for reading along with the link. Although, as I'm showing you here, this particular link didn't go to where I wanted, and so I ended up having to copy and paste the title of the article into Google, and I eventually did find the link. So it wasn't too much trouble, but in addition to making sure you're checking the content, you want to make sure that you check any output links and images, etc., to make sure that they are vetted. And I really did love what it gave me here. I thought this was terrific. It would have taken me a long time to find that one electromagnetic spectrum diagram. I went ahead and copied and pasted that multi-step assignment to the bottom of my lesson plan. Now, when I'm organizing my lesson plan later on, I will no doubt move that to the section where the assignment is going to be given to students. So this might be out of order, or I may just link it. Regardless, you have your own way of putting together your lesson plan through comments, insertions, etc. So you do it the way you've normally done it, and as long as it makes sense to me, you're good to go. I'm looking forward to seeing your lessons.